Imagine being slowly roasted alive, not to punish a war hero, but just because someone decided to make your screams sound like a bull's. Welcome to the wild, brutal world of historical torture. Today, I'm sharing 28 spine-chilling methods that are so shocking you'll think they were made up, but every last one actually happened. Ready? Let's dive in. Fact 1. The Brazen Bull, Ancient Greece. Imagine a life-sized bronze bull, hollow on the inside with pipes designed so when victims screamed, it sounded like a roaring bull. That horrific idea came from Perillos of Athens, who, legend says, was the first person to test his own invention. He thought he'd bring poetic justice. Instead, he became the bull's first offering. By roasting people alive and turning their terror into theatrical spectacle, this method left no question. Torture could be twisted into performance art. Fact 2. The rack, medieval Europe. Picture a wooden frame with rollers at each end. Your wrists and ankles are strapped down, and as the rollers turn, your limbs stretch, dislocating joints one by one. Bones crack and pop under your own body's weight. The goal? Not just confession, but spectacle, public fear turned inward. By the time torture ended, no one questioned the truth of what you said. Fact 3. Scaphism, ancient Persia. This one's so grotesque, it almost defies belief. Victims were trapped between boats or tree trunks, force-fed milk and honey so they'd continuously excrete in place. Covered with more honey, they attracted insects and rodents. They then rotted alive. Days or even weeks passed before death, slow, excruciating, horrifying. It's hard to imagine a punishment so calculated for maximum horror. Fact 4. Pear of Anguish, medieval Europe. A pear-shaped metal device with locking segments. Insert it into the mouth or worse and turn the screw. Flesh tears, teeth shatter, jaws split. No blood on the floor, just silence, shattered by agony. Clerics used it during Inquisitions to punish traitors, heretics, or accused witches. This was torture cloaked in surgical precision. Fact 5. Iron Maiden, late medieval, modern myth. Think coffin with spikes lining the inside. Victims stepped in, and once inside, doors would seal, leaving them pierced, but not instantly killed. They slowly bled out. Historians debate how often it was used, but the idea alone seeped into horror lore. Its terrifying reputation grew faster than actual evidence ever did. Fact 6. Breaking wheel Europe, 16th–18th century. You're tied to a large wheel. Executioners break your limbs with clubs or iron bars, then weave your limbs through the spokes. Once broken, the wheel is hoisted in public. Scavengers eventually finish the job, often after hours or days. This was punishment as spectacular suffering on display to warn others. Fact 7. Rat torture, European Asia. A metal cage with a rat is strapped to your abdomen or chest. Enemies heat the cage from above, and the rat, riven by heat, chews through your flesh to escape. It's a form of agony that's visceral, terrifying, and primal. Reports exist from Tudor England and beyond. No one talked about anything else while this was happening. Fact 8. Spanish tickler, medieval early, modern Europe. Also known as the flesh hook. This clawed instrument shredded skin and muscle from bone, no slicing, just ripping. It was dragged across the body or clenched around ribs and yanked. Victims often died from infection afterward. Executioners wielded it like a butcher inside human bodies. Fact 9. Flaying alive, ancient Assyria. Medieval Europe. Skin is peeled from the body, sometimes in strips, sometimes like a great hide. Victims moved, even screamed, as flesh tore away. Spectators watched as the body's natural defenses failed. In some cultures, the skin was hung publicly on city gates to broadcast state cruelty. Fact 10. Judas. Cradle, Spanish Inquisition. A pyramid-shaped wooden seat. Victims were lowered onto the tip, pinning them painfully. Gravity and body weight ensured constant agony. Sometimes weights were attached to legs to intensify the pressure. This torture didn't only inflict physical pain, it stripped away dignity inch by terrifying inch. Those were just the first 10 each, one more unbelievable than the last, right? But hold on, we're only getting started. Fact 11. Impalement, medieval and early modern world. Picture this. A sharpened stake driven through the body, sometimes vertically, sometimes lengthwise, leaving a person alive for hours or days. Vlad the Impaler famously used it to spread terror. It wasn't just execution, it was prolonged suffering, infection, and spectacle. Death came slowly, if at all, and every moment of agony sent a chilling message. When the stake was inserted just right, the victim could remain conscious for up to a day. Pure terror stretched over time. Fact 12. Crucifixion, ancient Rome and beyond. Nails driven through wrists and feet. You're tied or nailed to a cross and left to hang, bleeding, choking, gasping under your own weight. It could take a full week to die from exhaustion, exposure, infection. Roman emperors used it to terrify rebellious provinces. Next time you hear forgiveness, think how the setting of crucifixion radically changed what it meant. Fact 13. Chinese water torture, medieval Europe and Renaissance. A slow, rhythmic drip of water on the forehead, insensiming but maddening over hours. Victims eventually went insane, their minds tormented by anticipation of the next drop, often accompanied by public humiliation. It wasn't physical damage, was all mental, but often it broke people just as effectively as any blade. Fact 14. Sawing, medieval Europe hung upside down, legs apart, then sawed through the body. Flipping victims kept them conscious longer. The blood would rush to the head, prolonging agony. Execution as a slow public art form. The longer they could stay alive, the more effective the message it sent to the crowd. Fact 15. Flaying. Alive, ancient and medieval periods, skin stripped off while still alive. Flesh exposed, blood pooling, used to display power. Assyrian kings and some medieval rulers hung skin on city walls as a graphic warning. The skin was often displayed as a trophy. If that doesn't send the message, what would? Fact 16. Keelhauling, age of sail. Ever heard of swabbing the deck? Keelhauling was the opposite. Dragged under a ship, scraped against barnacles, emerging bloodied, broken, often drowned later. A punishment for mutinous sailors. Wave of curiosity. See, justice didn't mess around. This was both punishment and macabre speed bump to others who considered disobedience. Fact 17. Bamboo torture, ancient and mythic. Asia, legs or arms pinned while bamboo stalks with sharp leaves gently penetrated them as the plant grew. The stalk continued to pierce deeper, steel thin centimeter by painful centimeter. Legend, maybe? Horrifying nonetheless. Imagine days of slow-moving pain as the plant grew inside you. Nature as torturer. Fact 18. Coffin torture, iron cage, medieval Europe. Cramped cages hung high on city walls or towers. Victims starved under sun and rain, tormented by birds, sometimes left alive for weeks. Death became a public sideshow. Crowds would gather, mock, even throw stones at prisoners' cruelty as entertainment. Fact number 19. The head crusher, medieval Europe. A vice-like tool applied slowly to the skull, first cracking the skull, then smashing brains, and still the victim didn't always die immediately. They watched their own brain pulp while alive. The ultimate slow-motion torture, pressure, crunch, and prolonged terror. Fact number 20. Pendulum, French Revolution. Imagine being suspended above a giant pendulum blade, slowly swinging to cut you. Slowly. The blade descended an inch every few seconds, slicing with deliberate slowness and guaranteeing a long, skin-streaked agony. If you thought the guillotine was fast, this took its time, and your last moments too. Wow, 10 more shocking moments of cruelty that beg the question, what do we do with power when there's no one to stop us? We're only halfway through, and if you're still here, you deserve a reward. Keep watching, because the next moments will dive even deeper. Fact 21. Drawing and quartering, medieval England. First, you're drawn, dragged behind a horse to a public place, then hanged, but cut down while still alive. Your abdomen is opened, organs removed, and head severed. Finally, your body is quartered, limbs tied to horses and pulled apart. This was reserved for traitors. The full execution could last hours or days, leaving no mistake. Treason came with a price. These gruesome displays were meant to scare entire communities into obedience. Fact 22. The upright jerker. 18th-19th C. England, USA. A grim twist on hanging. Prisoners were jerked upward by weights and pulleys rather than dropped. It was supposed to break the neck faster, but often failed. Victims died slowly by strangulation. Even advances in engineering didn't always make torture more efficient, just more cruel. Fact 23. Crushed by elephant. Southeast Asia elephants trained to step or sit on condemned people sometimes. Under royal commands, this wasn't just brutal, it was selective. Elephants could be trained to spare noble individuals by using their trunks to push them aside. Nature's might, controlled to reinforce power. Fact 24. Blood Eagle, Norse legend. According to saga lore, Vikings would slay a victim by slicing their back, breaking ribs outward, and pulling out lungs to look like wings. Salt might be poured into the wounds. Historians debate whether this was real, but the legend alone haunts us, whether myth or fact. The horror won't be forgotten. Fact 25. Strappado Inquisition modern use, hands tied behind the back. Victim hoisted by a rope, shoulders dislocating under their weight. Add weights to the feet, and recovery could take months if they survived at all. It's simple, silent, and effective. Fact 26. Foot roasting Rome. Inquisition, hot iron plates pressed to soles, sometimes placed under feet, other times under a stock of coals. Victims screamed until shock or madness took over. They literally roasted people's feet like marshmallows over burning coals. Fact 27. Coffin. Torture, gibbeting Europe, a cage tight as a coffin hoisted outdoors and left to the elements. Victims starved and birds feasted for days or weeks. We've already seen public spectacle used in torture. This just upped the show. Fact 28. Abacination, blinding ancient Byzantium eyes, or eyelids slashed, skin corroded with acid. Victims saw darkness until they bled or went insane. Worse than blinding, this erased identity, independence, life as they knew it. Thanks for sticking with me through these 28 shocking torture methods. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing history and science, and drop a comment with the method that shocked you the most. Don't miss the next video, it's going to blow your mind.